money moves, making money moves. Making money moves, making money moves. When the pressure's at its...
And we're back. All right. It's Hollywood. Next up, Hollywood series. And you know, if you heard the studio audience, it's because we live with
Kiana.
And she brings the show. And that just happened. So, you know, you actually got to read my book, you know, Access Hollywood, that I'm preparing that with my debut solo album called Access Hollywood. And it also goes into like my EP, Degree of Difficulty. So it's like a life story, and you know, not a lot of people read the book, but you read the book, so we're about to talk about it, and we're about to let you guys get the inside scoop on the book and why I wrote it and who's it about, who's in it, how I felt about it, and all types of stuff. So whenever you're ready.
Cool.
Can she get a clap one more time? I told you she brings the show. I don't even know what's going on right now. She's bringing a show right now. That's crazy.
Alright, so starting from the beginning, like what inspired you to write a book?
So what inspired me to write a book, it was a few things. I would say like my mom, my wife, my life, my music, my friends, that kind of all tied into it, but it was really a push from probably like my mom and my wife. They were like in different instances, I think I said that right, in different ways, they were telling me like, you need to do this in your own shape, form, or fashion. My wife would tell me like, you know, you have all these ideas, like, you have all this trauma, you have this stuff, like, you need to write it down and stuff like that. And then on the other hand, like, maybe like 20 years ago, it's kind of funny because we were talking about this the other day, me and my mom. My mom started writing a book when I was real young, and she started the process of writing the book, and she kind of never completed it, and it was just always in my mind, just go for that and complete the book. And then what's so funny is like, after my wife was pushing me to do the book, like you actually came by and said, you know what, I wrote a book. I was like, what? Get out of here, you wrote a book? And then you started telling me about, yeah. You know? So you yourself, you wrote a book. And then when I seen that someone who was like, all right, she's telling me to write this book. My mom started this process, and then you wrote the book. It was too many elements around just saying, you know what, let me take a stab at it. And
You did it.
I did it, you know?
You did it.
Can I get a plug? Yeah. We're a part of the show. Enjoy the show. This is lit.
Yeah, so one of my favorite things about reading your book is that it went by really, really fast. And I felt like it went by so fast because you had so many short stories that were really comical and like you could relate to. Do you have a favorite short memory or story that's in that book you want to talk about?
My favorite short story in the book. I don't know, cause I feel like the book is not short. Like it's really I just tried to sum it up in as much as possible. So like my favorite story in the book, I don't know. It's probably either like out of America's Got Talent, if you read how I have the chapters, or probably Basketball Wives, because both of those stories, like the characters in the stories, from how I met my wife to how me and Blue went on that journey in Queens and how that all came about and stuff like that. Like we have inside jokes about that and about Superman and stuff like that. And then it goes back into like something my mom could joke about with me of like when I was young, I used to hum the Superman song all day long, like dun 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 dun. So it was like certain things in the short stories, the way they connect together, and they're parallel but different. I kind of feel like that's maybe my favorite part of the book, like how I made those things come together.
I got you. My next kind of question is just talking about vulnerability. You mentioned trauma at the very start of the video.
Mm-hmm.
In your book, you do have a lot of moments where you talk about trauma, but then there's moments where it's kind of quite an emotional voice, where you talk about like the birth of your son, meeting Tamika. How does it feel as a male to access those emotions in writing, especially in a generation that kind of just tells males to suppress their feelings?
It was more like a challenge of just saying like, I felt like I was always suppressing my feelings when I was younger, and I wasn't standing up for myself and wasn't being as strong of a person as I should be, as I am now. And it was more of just like releasing that pain, going through it, and saying like, you know what, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Mm-hmm. So it was like, I mean, I kind of already went through the things that I spoke about in the book. So it was like you might open up a new wound, but it's like you figured out how to heal it already. So go through it and show the people that it's you know, possible to show people that, you know, you can open up these wounds and go through it. And that's kind of why I named the project Access Hollywood. Like, it was really a view to see me for real. And like a lot of people see me like I do the Incredible Hulk, I do the Hulk Hogan stuff, and it's like I do that for entertainment, but I also do it to draw more attention to just to show who I am for real. And I feel like you have to be vulnerable when you want to be real, and especially in this society right now, like everything is desensitized and like things are crazy. Like things are crazier now than when they were when I was younger. But I had a rough childhood or whatever. But everybody had a rough childhood in their own instances or whatever. So it's like someone's got to stand up and say something. You know, so why not me?
I got you. You know, going off of that, I noticed in the book too, you mentioned creating some type of album for self-healing for yourself and your family. Can you talk a little bit more about how healing music is to you?
It was like one of the most important things that like my grandfather taught me about music, and I mentioned it in the book and I mentioned it in my music. It's like music is for the soul, and it connects with everything. Like it can change your mood when you're feeling good, bad, indifference. It's really special when you have that type of music that it impacts someone. Like it has that effect that my words change your feelings. So my grandfather always taught me, like, you know, be very careful on how you use your words, and as I got older with words and stuff like that, like my wife taught me about manifestation, and really like when you say things and like they can appear. And I started seeing her use that example all the time, and just like not understanding, like, you know what, like there's no way. And I use this example all the time because I'll never forget it. We were in like I don't know where we were. It was like a supermarket or something like that, and it was like hot. It was like June. It was probably like around this time, you know, around my birthday, around this time. And she was just like, "You don't believe it, whatever. Watch, Feliz Navidad is gonna play," and then it played right after, and it was like, wow. Wait, how the hell? It was right. So when you see stuff like that, it's like, what? And it's like you commanded that song to come on, and it came on. But what happens when you have the power to make the song, to make people follow your command and stuff like that? So it was like, I wanted to be in that realm, and when I see my grandfather make gospel music, and I seen how it impact people's, like, they would cry, they would cheer, they would go crazy, and it's like, I want that. And I would ask him all the time, how do you get that? How do you make people react to your tone, to your voice? And he would teach me how to do singing and things of that nature, and I had to find out on my own craft, and still wanted to be a part of that type of, that my words are my message and stuff like that. So I don't know, shout out to my grandfather, man. Yo, this having an audience, like, I don't know, man. We gotta get her on the payroll or something. She got a live studio audience. Yeah, Hollywood, man. Let's go.
Alright, so my next question is about the imagery in your book. When I was reading it, really felt like you did a good job setting the scene, right? You talked a lot about being at Canarsie High School, going to Jamaica Avenue, even like dressing up as Batman, going to school, and I saw that, right? And as I'm reading, I keep hearing the word visionary, like this guy is probably a visionary.
Right.
Do you consider yourself a visionary? And if so, how do you think that translates into your writing?
At first, I probably didn't understand what a visionary was. Like when I first started doing music, and with like being in Canarsie and going to Jamaica, because when I was going to Jamaica, that's where my cousin was. Shout out to Tox. And that's where I was doing majority of the music when I finally figured it out. It was like in a strange way of just saying, like, I didn't think I can tell these stories. I didn't think I had the ability to show people my picture. But as I started moving along with my craft, you know what it was? I was actually arguing with my mom one day, and my mom was like, you know what, you need to stop lying in your songs. You need to stop saying what you don't do and stuff like that and what you do. And if you want me to listen to your stuff, clean it up. You curse too much. And I was young at the time, and I was an Eminem fan. I was the awkward black kid Eminem fan, the one who, when you hear Eminem say he didn't like his mom, I was like, wait, what's going on? You can do that? There's rappers who do that? Wait, so understand, when I was having this conversation with my mom, it was an impactful conversation, because she was like, you need to stop doing it. And I was like, Mom, you don't even like that I do this, and when I do this, I'm attacking you when I do it. But she said, this is gonna make you better. And I was like, okay. And you know, when you're young, you don't want to listen to these lessons or whatever, but as I got older and started really telling the truth, and really, like, I made a promise to my grandfather that, like, I'll be successful and people will love my music, and I will be what I want to be when I don't lie in my music. I made that promise to my grandfather right before he passed or whatever. That was like one of the last things me and him ever actually had a conversation with, because when I told him I was going to be a rapper, he was like, well, you were raised in church, like you were an honor roll student, like you were Dizzy, like you were the funny one, like yeah, you shot guns for protection and stuff like that. That's funny, we were just talking about that, so I gotta mention that, we were just talking about it, but you weren't that typical street kid. You were back and forth going through trauma. Speak on that. And when I started speaking on that, it kind of made me feel better. It started making other people accept me and say, like, you know what, I went through that, I didn't know how to express it, and continue to do that. And then, like, writing this book, I did something else by doing like a 30 days positive vibe, positive energy thing, and creating that from my mom and from my wife, just to more people, just saying, yo, just be that, just do that. It was kind of easier, because now I can be characters, and you see these visions, you see that, and it's like, what is he doing? I'm having fun. I can rap really well, and I came from tough areas, and I have a tough background and stuff like that, but I love rap. I love the sport of it. I love the art of it. I love that I can be funny and goofy and stuff like that. I vision that I can be like that, like a Busta Rhymes or a Heavy D or whatever, like 50 Cent. I don't care. Like, I'll knock somebody out too. But it's the fact that I had those visions as a kid, and it's like when I started being honest with myself, it started coming true. And when I wrote that book and I started opening up those wounds, it was like, we're doing this for the right reason. Like we figured out our vision. So at first I didn't think I had it, but as I completed that book, so I took that time to make this album, and so many things happened to make it. I feel like I did it. Like, I feel like I made that vision. Like, when I say I'm looking good, I'm feeling good in this next out Hollywood, like, I feel like you follow my path and you really watch it, you're gonna be like, oh, that kid made it. That kid did something. Like, that kid showed us from the beginning, like, he didn't have much, but he took it, and yeah, follow him. Like, I don't know how he did it, but follow him. Follow the lights. He's on to something.
No, I hear you. You know, I also hear you kind of repeat the word kid, and that's interesting because half of your book is really your childhood, right? Which made me really think, like, who's the target audience of this book? Is it kids? You talk about the Bridge program a lot. Just dealing with different emotions as a kid too. But who do you think your targeted audience is?
So I think as I was writing it, I was writing from a perspective of like a younger me, like a person who, like I said, like when I was younger, I wasn't standing up for myself as I feel like as I do now. Like I was getting bullied and pushed over and stuff like that. So it was like I had to write from that mindset of saying, well, while traveling through this time travel machine, like, what are you feeling for real when you're going through it? And then I had to talk about those places I was at, the Bridge program. Like, it was certain things that I mentioned that scoped me to, all right, you know what? Defend yourself. Become a man. Like the world did give you a bad hand, but play the game. Play the game and learn how to cut back. Like, that goes with to my name of like being Dizzy Spades. It's like the game of life is hard, and they're giving you a rough hand, and you might have a bad partner, but learn how to play the game and win. Take advantage of that type of stuff. So it was more of that, like, just tired of just being taken advantage of and stuff like that. So as a kid, that was my feelings and stuff like that. So it was like, address that trauma, because as a man now, like, when you address your trauma from when you're younger as a man or whatever, it just helps you become wiser from when you're around other people. And I feel like, to answer your question, because I know it took a long time, I feel like my target audience may be like young adults or my age, but I feel like maybe that young adult bracket of just someone who might be of my age, but I feel like I can relate to someone younger. I'm around that crowd. I know what's going on in those areas and stuff like that. I still relate to it. I had to grow up fast when I was younger, but as I got old, I got set in that. Now I want to be this right here. I want to be at this little age gap or whatever. And even as I get older, I kind of still feel like I'm still in that age gap. So I feel like I don't age or whatever. So it's like, I feel like that's what I'm talking to. Like, those young adults drifting through life, trying to figure it out. Not too sure if you like your parents, if you like your family, if you like your situation, but you trying to figure it out. And you just need somebody who sounds just like you, who said, you know what, I see what you're doing. You trying to figure it out. This is what I did to figure it out. Might not be the right or wrong path, but if you read it, go figure out yours. So I feel like my audience is for those people who are trying to find their path. I found the path. I followed the lights to how to get to my journey, and if you read my journey, I want to read yours. Like I created platforms to read other people's journeys and stuff like that. So it's like I wanted you to know mine, so I can know yours. So I don't know. That could be anybody audience, you know.
It's true. It's very inspiring. All right, last question. So, in reading your book, I noticed you have a lot of artistic ability in writing, but also in just kind of like lyrical, poetic language, right? And I also noticed you have like 3 different types of voices in your book.
Right.
There's a narrative voice where you explain what's going on, and there's a lyrical and poetic voice that sounds kind of like song, right? Can you tell me a little bit about how writing the book might be similar to writing songs?
I would say it's about like the rhyming pattern of like, you know, when you're hearing a song and you're like, oh, that rhymes. I like that. That's catchy. I think I can repeat that if it comes again. Writing songs to me are like that. Writing the book was, okay, this is a catchy story. What follows with it that's entertaining, or what follows with it to where it's like, I'm making fun of myself? What follows with it to where it's like, I'm stepping out and giving you the fourth wall of, that wasn't a bad, or that wasn't a good situation, you know? What elements of, now you're watching it, and what can you include to say, I think I want to hear it again, read it again, see it again. I think of those type of elements of writing lyrics. So I figured writing a book, why not have the same type of, you know, at least energy or something like that. Like, you might not be able to see what I'm doing while you're reading a book. You might have to really close your eyes and visualize everything. But if I paint a beautiful picture, you're going to be like, oh, Hollywood look nice out there. Yo, you know, put the big TV, everything. Oh, I see it all because it's so detailed. Like, oh my goodness, I really see what's going on. I wanted that energy. So it's like with my lyrics, like I'm a loud, go out and go get it type of guy. So it's like, that's just my energy, period. So if I didn't write a book, if I didn't make a song, this was gonna be my energy. I tap dance and be that type of tap dancer. Be like, yo, I think I seen him bring up Harlem with his feet. Like he was tapping so magical. Like it's amazing. Like if I was a flute player, I don't know. Like I feel like everything I do is gonna bring in and draw a story or something, just to see it and feel it. Just to get my vibe, like I want you to feel my vibe. So it's like I'm gonna figure out how you can feel my vibe. So if it's through literature, if it's through spoken art, visual, I'll figure it out and I'm gonna get it. And you're gonna understand that I went to that degree to go get your attention for this.
Right.
My vibe, you know?
I got you. I appreciate you answering these questions today.
I appreciate you. She brought the studio audience. Shout out to the studio audience. Man, it's fire. I'm telling you, that's fire. We gotta get her on the payroll. And I'm pretty sure y'all gotta go get the book because the book is amazing. It's Access Hollywood. The book is titled like my album. And we have the degree of difficulty. The EP also dropping very soon. You gotta tell them who you are and where they can follow you at.
My name's Kiana. You can follow me on Instagram at Kiana, KEYANAXO.
There you have it. We out here the Next Time Hollywood series, yo. Wow.
please. This is Monopoly House. This is Monopoly House. I be repping my homies.